Okay, so let's demonstrate how we cut this chicken into the standard 8 cut. We're going to start by removing the wishbone. To do that, first of all, the wishbone is the collarbone-like bone that sits right alongside each breast. So to do that, we're going to take the tip of our paring knife and right exactly on the bone, we're going to make a shallow cut right down along it. Just use your thumb to feel for it, okay? Down each side. Now gently, using your thumb and your forefinger, find that wishbone. Just with your index finger, slide it down and up, and your thumb on this side, down and up, just to expose it. And then, using these fingers, just pinch it out and down. The reason why we remove the wishbone first is so we get a better yield and a nicer presentation on our breast in the end. So now that the wishbone's out, we're going to start by removing the wing joint. So to do that, face your chicken up, and using the tip of your boning knife, you want to cut around in a circle right where that joint meets. So right along. Kind of open it up if you need to find exactly where that joint is. And just kind of pull it down and cut through it. Put it on your ice. Same thing on the other side. C motion. Separate it from the joint. And into the ice. So now we're going to separate the legs. When doing this, you want to be careful to leave as much skin on the breast as possible. So angle your knife touching the thigh and make a shallow cut just to cut through the skin on each side. Now separate the joint by hyperextending it. To do that, gently put your finger here to support the meat itself and push forward. And you see the bone separates from the joint. Now we want to make sure we get all the oyster intact. The oyster is the piece of meat that sits right between the thigh and the carcass. It's considered to be the most tender and the most flavorful part of the chicken. So make your first cut to expose the oyster, and then you're going to use the point of your finger to separate it from the carcass. Like that. Down, and use your finger. Like that. And you have the oyster right there. Now, being careful not to cut yourself, separate the oyster with your knife angled down towards the carcass. Slide it down and towards the board. And there you have your leg with the oyster attached. Put that on your ice and go to the next side. Same thing, fingers supporting it, push it forward, and you see the joint out of the socket. Move your oyster using your finger and sliding this part down just to expose it some. There's oyster 2. Once again, careful not to cut yourself. Angle your knife down so you get a nice yield and all the way down. You have your leg. The last part here is the breast. So the first thing we need to do is locate the breastbone, which is the bone that runs down the center of the carcass and separates the breast into 2. So make smooth slice down each side of the breastbone. nice and smooth. That's one side. Down the other side. And kind of use your fingers to separate the meat from the bone. And continue all the way down using your finger just to separate the meat. Now using smooth strokes, kind of angle it a little bit towards the carcass and take it all the way down, right past this bone right there. Once you reach that point, and you've cut through the skin, you can pull the meat away from the bone. And this way you're getting the maximum yield out of your chicken breast. And then come right down to where the skin is, cut through that skin, and down. Boneless chicken breast. Same thing on this side. Cut away from you, right past that first bone and through the skin. And now use your finger to pull it down. And towards the cutting board. This you reserve for stocks. Cut off any fat that you see. Just be careful, cut away from you. And that way you don't have fat in your nice stock. Save all your fat separately and you can render it down. And that's called smolts, and you can use that to saute any type of chicken product you have. So cut away your skin and you have your nice clean carcass. All right, so now to complete our 8-cut chicken, we just need to separate the leg and the thigh. So grab your boning knife, and you can tell where the separation of the joint is by where the line of fat runs right in between and also where it bends. So the object is to make one clean cut. So find your joint, insert your tip. If you need to rework it, and then slide it right down. You have your leg and your thigh. You might need to just clean up the outer fat around it, like so. Your thigh and your leg. One more time. And go back and just trim up the breast if you need to. Little fat that hangs off. Scrape it away and then cut. Same thing on this side. Scrape it away. Cut. Here are the usable products we have from our chicken. The 2 wings, 2 breasts, 2 thighs, and the 2 legs.